Hi all, and welcome back to Let's Play Astro Omega Factor. Last time we took out the artificial sun that was terrorizing the Pacific, and followed it down to a mysterious cross-shaped island where we found we'd been beaten to the punch by a bunch of other heroes of justice. So many, in fact, that talking about them kinda blocked me from saying that you gotta punch that statue head to death in order to open a door over here leading down to the rest of the level. Rainbow Pyramid up there actually mentioned that there was a door that no one really knew how to open, but it wasn't really all that hard to figure out, so it doesn't really matter. This area looks decidedly different from the ruins above, and there is a reason for that. But firstly, we gotta deal with this guy. He's a V3 robot. Big X on the surface mentioned them by name. A man going by the name of Kim Sankaku purchased them en masse, and they come from Big X's own work of origin. They are also complete pushovers. That thing's probably gonna send you into a false sense of security, at which point this'll happen. Their falling will damage you if you're not dashing at the time, and will more than likely catch you off guard. They have two attacks, one of which is flailing and one of which is jumping, but because they're so huge, and those laser pierces enemies, it's pretty easy to take them out. Pretty great. Anyway, the reason this place looks mechanical as opposed to the ruins above is because the original purpose of Cruciform Island was to be a mine for uranium and precious metals. In the original story, Cruciform Island was found to be a natural treasure trove which Japan quickly took advantage of and industrialized. A couple bad people decided to set their sights on the place, which is how the plot kicks off. This elevator is pretty clearly supposed to be an homage to that, where they'd be bringing stuff up from the depths via it, but there's also something a bit more interesting if you kick the enemies around. And kicking them around is what you should be doing, because it's the best way to take these guys out. Number 30, Magma. He is usually called Ambassador Magma, a rocket man created by the guardian god of Earth, Master Earth. Magma, his wife, and his son can all be summoned by a special whistle. The live-action version created by P Productions is possibly the most famous. Tezuka was friends with the cartoonist, Usuo Soji of P Productions. There is much material that was created but not published in the manga. The live-action version featured animation that was revolutionary at the time. It was created by Kenzo Masaoka, who was the father of Japanese animation. It was a very influential relationship that Osamu Tezuka had with him. Magma's not a robot, but he's not a man either. He is a rocket man, a being of pure metal, and that name is not hyperbole. He is literally both a rocket and a man, and he's capable of transitioning between the two whenever he wants. His main purpose is to fight the interplanetary conqueror named Goa, who has currently set his sights on Earth and is sending alien ambassadors down to the Earth in an attempt to take it over. It has had an anime version and a live-action version. The live-action version actually got an English dub. If you want to check it out, I'll be linking to it in the thread. It's an interesting work, and was one of the first examples of Japan's tokusatsu genre, a mix of live-action and special effects, even before the famous Ultraman. These smaller versions of the V3 robot are a bit more difficult, as you saw there, they managed to catch me off guard. But the only real difficulty is that they're harder to hit. Other than that, it's really not a problem. They give you a heart to immediately refill your health anyway, so no biggie. One last thing about Ambassador Magma though, that whistle he gave us is the summoning whistle from his own work, and while we don't have an inventory screen, we do have it, so keep it in mind. This is the point in the stage where the two different stories, Cruciform Island and the Artificial Sun, come together, and if you haven't guessed already, the link between the two is the man by the name of Kim Sankaku. He's the leader of an international gang of thugs, a generally all-around bad dude, and the main antagonist in both stories. boy, Pook, there's a lot to talk about in this fight, but first I'd like to point out that the artificial sun is visible in a banged up state in the background. Very nice. Pook transitions through a few forms during the fight, the first of which is Contole Force. Contole means condor in some ancient Inca language I'm entirely unfamiliar with, and fittingly, it is a large condor. This one's probably the easiest because it's really big and easy to hit, and most of its attacks, while being kind of hard to dodge and visually impressive, don't really hit hard. We aren't seeing them all here, but he will transition back, so don't worry about that. The second form of his is the Leo Force. We've already seen this one, it's the Kimba form, and it's characterized by this aura thing. It makes it completely invincible as long as he's using it, so you just gotta hang back. And in addition to that great defense, he also has a very powerful offense. He'll try to jump at you and maul you, and if it hits, it does a ton of damage. However, if you get behind him, it takes him a while to turn around, so it's really easy to punish him. Third form is Hanuman Force. Hanuman is a Hindu monkey god, which is what I assume this name is derived from, and he is the fastest of Pook's forms. Its attacks consist of extremely fast and accurate strikes with its tail, and it's even capable of pulling itself to the location of its tail, which makes it kind of difficult to predict his movements. It's probably the hardest one for me to deal with. Fourth one is Bahamut Force, Bahamut being a large mythological fish supporting the world, and it is a large shark. This one's kind of annoying to hit, so I'd recommend taking out the laser immediately when it comes out, because otherwise you're going to have to snipe it every time he leaps out. This Shark Slicer move is a little odd. As you're seeing here, it's really easy to punish, but it actually comes out at varying speeds, so I just got lucky there. Now, he's going to start repeating forms. He only has 4, but notably, he is a reference to the classic Gunstar Heroes boss 7 Force. I'm sure some of you probably already noticed it, but he names all of his forms something Force, and moreover, he switches forms 7 times during the fight, each time you take off a ball and a half of his health. It's a really fun fight, and has a lot of variation and uniqueness to it, on top of having a super rad boss theme. But because it can get a little dicey and he repeats forms, I'm trying to speed it up as much as I can with the arm cannon. Pook is a member of the original Cruciform Island storycast, but in this version he was excavated from these ruins, hence the glyphs that show up and his mythological naming. Number 42, Pook. A transforming robot built with technology that is beyond our time. He can transform into many forms. No one knows what his true form is. In this game he appears at Cruciform Island, but not as himself. His appearance is that of a different character. Contole means condor in Quechua, the language of the Inca Empire. Pook was one of the main playing characters in the original Cruciform Island story, being an incomplete transformable robot created by one Dr. Tozawa. His father was arrested for embezzling money from the Ministry of Science, which led to Pook being transferred to Cruciform Island's underground robot school, led by Wally Kisagari. Neither his appearance nor his personality were really anything like the ones you see here, and he was a bit of a problem student getting into spats with other students, and Astro himself. He did have a soft spot for his creator though, and when said creator returned with a plot to steal Cruciform Island's riches, he got himself repaired and helped him out, at least until his creator ended up getting himself killed, and Pook was deceived by Kim-san Kaku. Later, he and Astro do work together, and most of the forms seen here in-game were utilized in his original story. That's going to be the end of this chapter. It's a really fun one, and it has a lot of cool characters and scenes, especially that one at the end with all the Heroes of Justice assembling to take the bad guys down. But it's not as good as the game gets, and there's still plenty more to see. I'll be seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.